I handed him the gun out the backseat of the car.
16-year-old CharlestonWhite took the stand and testified against his friend, Antoine Doolittle, who sat just a few feet from him and listened intently.
That nigga said we saw the snitch video, so everybody saw it. It's been on the news before. Just because you saw it, you still broke. It don't change nothing. You still broke. I'm still rich. I'm still getting booked. It don't change nothing.
Following the release of disturbing new evidence, reportedly demonstrating CharlestonWhite's cooperation with police enforcement, 50 Cent has publicly gone off on White. Additionally, the internet is ablaze. The video, which went viral right after, seems to show Charleston identifying names and describing street figures at a private meeting that, according to sources, wasn't intended for the general public to watch. 50 didn't take long to reply. "I knew dude wasn't built for this," he stated in an Instagram post. That aggressive talk was all a front. "We now have evidence."
Everybody's seen it before you seen it. It used to be on the news. I keep telling y'all, I made the news before. All what y'all doing, people I already seen.
A video compilation of White's most contentious incidents was his next move, currently accompanied by captions calling him the loudest snitch in the room and a fraud.
Doolittle is accused of down 34-year-old Michael Levy of Irving. Levy attempted to stop Doolittle, White, and 2 other teenagers accused of shoplifting 3 sports jackets and a baseball cap from an Arlington mall in September of 1991.
Charleston, who is well known for his unreserved outbursts and thought-provoking observations on street culture, has made a name for himself by criticizing gangs, rappers, and even false activists.
Witnesses say Levy pounded on their windshield until the teens threw the jackets out the car window. Then Doolittle supposedly shot him in the back as Levy walked away.
However, the paradox behind the fade might have been revealed by this new footage, as both fans and critics start to doubt Charleston's authenticity. 50 Cent's response has further exacerbated the situation.
He said, "Look, you shot."
What did he do?
Started laughing.
White hasn't responded to the leak in its entirety, but the silence speaks louder than words. Furthermore, with 50% increasing the strain, this story may not be finished yet, because 50 rarely slows down once he gets going. In the midst of controversy, 50 Cent is never known to keep quiet, and he's focused on CharlestonWhite this time around. Recently, a news clip that showed CharlestonWhite testifying in court against a former buddy has surfaced. The internet reacted right away, sparking new discussions and criticism on a variety of sites. The decades-old video seems to show White explaining how his colleague got into a deadly fight.
Dreams of my Prince Charming. I found him. And it's hard to believe, but I did. And I believe in fairy tales because he made my dreams come true. And they took that away.
He stated in the video that Michael Levy was killed by his companion Antoine Doolittle during an attempted robbery of winter apparel from a department store in 1991. Many people now doubt White's authenticity and integrity as a result of this revelation, particularly in groups that enforce a rigid code of silence. The public's response has been prompt, and now 50 Cent is joining the conflagration.
My victim, which was a Caucasian man by the name of Michael Levy, I was sentenced to 12 years under Texas juvenile determined sentencing law. My 3 co-defendants, all of them was tried as adults. They were 15 and older. I was 14. So I went into a boys' home that was co-ed with boys and girls. So I spent my entire teenage life from 14 to 21 in the boys' home. When I got out at 21, my record was sealed. So there's no record of me ever being in trouble for that.
CharlestonWhite, though, is totally unfazed. He has adopted a belligerent posture, dismissing the charges with laughter and addressing those who doubt his moral character head-on. What precisely transpired in 1991 then? And why is this story coming up again, more importantly? Why is 50 Cent highlighting this film from decades ago? Let's dissect it. The altercation took a fatal and irrevocable turn when Michael Levy tried to stop the robbery attempt. Antoine Doolittle further escalated the situation by pulling out a gun and killing Michael, as the suspects threw the stolen goods out of a department store window.
We saw the snitch video, so everybody saw it. It's been on the news before. Just because you saw it, you still broke. It don't change nothing. You still broke. I'm still rich. I'm still getting booked. It don't change nothing.
CharlestonWhite, who was there when it happened, said he was a bystander. However, he directly implicated his own associate when he took the witness stand during the court hearings. White acknowledged giving Doolittle the gun before the shooting in sworn testimony. and he detailed the conversation that took place after the fatal incident. Court documents claim that Doolittle displayed no regret.
You think they gonna stop booking me? You think they gonna stop interviewing me? You think people gonna stop? No, you still gonna be poor, and I'm still gonna be rich and famous.
According to Times reports, White remembered his associate chuckling and nonchalantly narrating the incident. "Look, I shot him," which just made the current catastrophe worse. The repercussions were severe, for Michael Levy's wife in particular. His passing left a lasting loss. The tragedy terminated the couple's future together after just 4 days of marriage. However, Diddle wasn't the end of the consequences. CharlestonWhite provided more than one piece of testimony. Individual, he testified against 3 other participants, offering evidence that supported their convictions. His cooperation with the prosecution changed his punishment, but did not release him from blame. White's involvement in the crime ultimately resulted in a 12-year prison sentence, which would be a turning point in his life for decades to come. CharlestonWhite received a 12-year term, but his co-defendants faced harsher penalties.
So what? Why you think I told? I don't give a damn. I ain't friends with nobody.
Mostly because of his testimony in court. Despite what could seem like a harsh punishment, Charleston eventually left with a sealed record, giving him a fresh start in court, which many saw as a major benefit. The rediscovered video from the initial trial caused a great deal of online criticism, as was to be expected. Criticism erupted on social media sites immediately, with many calling Charleston a snitch. The video swiftly went viral, rekindling discussions regarding loyalty, responsibility, and the morality of collaborating with police enforcement, particularly in societies where people value silence. Yet Charleston seems totally unfazed by the increased scrutiny. He publicly ridiculed the outcry in an internet response video, appearing more amused than alarmed. He chose to chuckle at the circumstance rather than take a defensive stance in response to the accusations.
If it is, I hope it is, I want to snitch. I want to snitch, I want to tell, whatever they call snitching, I want to do it, and I want to make it cool to do it.
Dismissing the criticism as unimportant chatter, his own claims indicate that the incident would not affect his career or public image. Charleston further emphasized his disobedience by declaring that he would probably turn the entire experience into a stage routine. Additionally, he made it clear that he had no qualms about his testimony, claiming that he had no friends at the time and that he would act in the same way again, without hesitation in a similar circumstance. For Charleston, self-preservation seemed to be the end of loyalty, a point of view that keeps igniting controversy and popular indignation. The unrepentant attitude of CharlestonWhite toward allegiance and his self-out probably shouldn't. Audiences have continued to be shocked by the disregard for street codes. His responses and public declarations make it quite evident that he does not think traditional street loyalty is a virtue deserving of respect. Rather, he advocates for a different philosophy, based on lawfulness, self-defense, and civic duty, even if that means working with law enforcement or disclosing illegal activities. Charleston claims that his refusal to go to jail stems from brotherhood or loyalty. He stated, "We're all criminals and crooks." This point of view supports his broader thesis that self-defense and adherence to the law come before solidarity or quiet. Charleston proudly announced that he is now a citizen in another widely shared interview, saying, "I'm a police-minded individual. I'm going to cast my ballot, actually serve as an election judge." He made it clear that he is less concerned with criminal loyalty and more with civic involvement and the legal system. At 40 years old, he stated unequivocally that he would testify on everyone if it meant remaining free, and that he had no interest in being imprisoned. By the age of 50, because of this mentality, Charleston has become one of the most divisive personalities in modern history. There have been rumors that he helped federal agents capture another popular personality, Brick Baby, instead of denying any role or providing clarification. Charleston leaned into the charges. He boasted about his role and displayed no remorse on the internet, effectively confirming that he had tipped off law enforcement. It's an uncommon strategy in a field that is frequently characterized by loyalty norms and quiet. Even though he receives a lot of criticism, Charleston doesn't appear to be altering his mind. Brick CharlestonWhite made sure the authorities were kept updated, even though Baby might have attracted federal attention on his own. White didn't think twice about taking action. After Brick uploaded a video of himself flashing bundles of cash in Houston and allegedly threatening to strike Charleston, he openly boasted about going straight to law authorities instead of reacting with silence or retribution. Charleston's claim that he has contacts in federal agencies supports his argument that he follows the law rather than breaking it. Charleston's Phone calls sparked criticism on several occasions.
Hold on, I'm finna call my son. You got to go to the graveyard to see your son. say, look, this is what my kids give me for Father's Day. Gilly, say Gilly, cash money backup singer. Say, cash money backup singer. I'm sorry, backup dancer.
He was charged with alerting the police on Boozy Badass just a year ago, after Bowie allegedly intimidated a Memphis show promoter who had reserved Charleston. Whether Charleston actually called the police or filed a report was never verified, but the idea alone drove the internet into a frenzy. Charleston has said that he has done nothing illegal in spite of constant criticism and charges. That he is a snitch. He is still adamant that he is not a rat, despite being connected to multiple law enforcement calls and having publicly testified in previous court proceedings. Charleston argues that since he isn't looking for incentives or rewards, the moniker rat doesn't apply to him. He's just acting in accordance with his moral and legal convictions. However, public perception has not changed as a result of this. Defense: many detractors think that Charleston is a prime example of hypocrisy because of his actions, which go against his statements. Charleston's contemptuous demeanor hasn't helped his case, and the online criticism has been fierce. Charleston isn't going to back down anytime soon, though, if his history is any guide. CharlestonWhite has stated unequivocally that his goal transcends controversy. He is committed to reorienting at-risk youth in marginalized communities. Charleston has made community outreach a major focus of his life's work. Ever since he was released from prison, he has made appearances in town halls, youth correctional facilities, and schools, sharing his personal story as a warning to encourage accountability and change. However, among his most noteworthy endeavors is his participation in Excel Hype, is a program created to mentor youth, particularly those who are at risk of joining gangs or becoming caught up in criminal cycles. Through this program, Charleston assists in giving young people who might not otherwise have access to support networks, education, and life skills. Charleston even talked about starting what he called a snitching program for young children in one particularly audacious moment. By urging them to report crimes and safeguard their futures, he aimed to provide them with strategies for avoiding being drawn into destructive lifestyles. Charleston says it has nothing to do with treachery. It's about ending cycles of self-destructs and silence, but not everyone supports his strategies. Among those who strongly objected to Charleston's past was rapper Jilly Duckhead. He made a social media post. Charleston was criticized by media platform X for what he called long-standing patterns of snitching. He wrote, "Can't beef with no man who's been saying since the 90s he's a throwback rat." Tensions were rekindled by that post. Known for his direct answers, Charleston responded online with a contentious and intensely private remark about Gilly's deceased kid. His response provoked a lot of criticism for dragging as well as for its tone, a terrible defeat, into a public dispute. Charleston's deeds continue to demonstrate his desire to improve communities, but his combative demeanor and scathing remarks continue to sow discord. It is still unclear if his influence will surpass the criticism. When CharlestonWhite retaliated to Gilly Deed's criticism, it was a whole new level. In a startling uptick, White reacted straight to Gilly's internet remarks, making fun of his son's untimely death in a very hurtful and provocative video. He didn't hold back, bringing up the incident in public and brutally exaggerating the suffering. Charleston responded to Gilly's social media post labeling him a throwback rat by accusing the author of the children's book, "I Am Wakeful Seed of hypocrisy," for endorsing street regulations following a personal tragedy. However, things intensified further when Charleston used sound effects and crass impersonations to make his troubling point in a film that ridiculed the circumstances behind Gilly's son's death. "You got a dead son and you're talking about snitching?" In the video, Charleston yelled before imitating gunshots and making reference to the sorrow Gilly and his co-host Wallow conveyed in the wake of the incident. The voice was far more than controversial. It was brutal and regardless of one's opinion. Many people who watched the video believed it went too far in a moral direction that should never be crossed. Even though Charleston prides itself on upholding the law, this specific instance revealed a deeper, possibly unresolved annoyance at being called a snitch. Even though he had openly adopted that name for years, his choice to assault a father who was grieving over his kid sparked international outrage and caused even some of Charleston's regular supporters to stop talking. 50 Cent, meanwhile, has persisted in his own crusade against prominent individuals that he believes to be hypocritical or disloyal. 50, who is well known for his constant trolling, has focused on Big Meech, berating him constantly over resurfaced documents and what he describes as rap behavior. 50 has wasted no effort from concert shoutouts to social media posts, chance to confront Meech. CharlestonWhite, of course, had ideas about it as well. Charleston called the whole 50 Cent versus Big Meech dispute unfair during an appearance on The Danza Project. He claims that the two men don't even share a workspace. 50 is a strategic entertainer, while Meech is a street character. Charleston called 50 a bully, saying the rapper was using his position to discredit someone who was unable to adequately reply. CharlestonWhite is determined to say whatever he wants, regardless of how divisive or painful it may be, whether it's Gilly, Meech, or anybody else in the crosshairs. However, the question of how far is too far still stands as tensions continue to rise on several fronts. After CharlestonWhite's name came up once more, what did 50 Cent have to say? Interestingly, 50 didn't go in for the kill this time. Rather than immediately jumping into a typical online slam, 50 Cent appeared to respect Charleston's viewpoint without making any disparaging remarks. He really remained professional, mentioning the matter in passing while promoting his most recent show on Instagram. This change took some people by surprise. Perhaps Charleston's comments weren't interpreted as overt threats, or perhaps 50 is simply focusing his energies elsewhere at the moment, particularly given his continuous criticism of Big Meech and other current issues. In any case, CharlestonWhite may have escaped punishment this time, but it's obvious that his reputation for starting internet controversies hasn't diminished. Charleston doesn't care about the criticism. He keeps defending his position, saying that he's a law-abiding person who is trying to bring about change in a society that has long been afflicted by harmful loyalty codes. Many people on the internet are still not persuaded, for many who formerly viewed his message as uplifting. His actions, particularly his latest statements directed at mourning families, have left a terrible taste. We are left with a question at the end of this tale. Is CharlestonWhite genuinely attempting to bring about change? Or is he only inciting controversy to maintain his relevance? Is his approach fostering greater divisiveness or benefiting the community? Please share your opinions in the comments section below. Please remember to subscribe and like if you have read this far. It greatly benefits the channel. Check out now. See how this drama relates to a much larger topic in the next video.